Hi friends, I'm Cheryl. Welcome to my channel. I have a very special treat for you today. I'm going to introduce you to Courtney Gossial, photographer. She is incredible. She's a boudoir photographer and a healer. She might not call herself that, but my session with her was what I consider to be one of the greatest self-love gifts I've ever given myself. As you watch the shoot and see the interview, I think you're going to find the same thing. Her information for her website is in the description box below, as well as her TikTok. And if you want to join her Facebook boudoir group, contact me. Leave me a message below. Give her some love and encouragement because she is incredible. And if you're willing to travel, she is worth traveling to have a shoot done with. So I hope that you enjoy this very healing and fun video.
See, perfect, beautiful, wonderful.
So we already talked a little bit earlier, and I'll be using that footage too.
Okay.
I kind of wanted to get your feeling on, we talked about the fact that your group has this real focus on, I like to call it self-love.
Yes, 100%.
And I kind of wanted to hear about how did you evolve to that place?
That's a loaded question. So I've always struggled. I told you a little bit earlier about kind of sort of like being like an outsider here, even though I have grown up in Georgia and all that kind of stuff. But in a lot of ways, I've always been different, just different. I ate different. I looked different. I talked different. Just, all the things were different. And so the self-love thing probably really happened back in a long time ago, 2003, I think it was. I got into a really bad car wreck with my best friend at the time, and we were underage. She was not supposed to be driving. And that goes back down to, let me set the story here a little bit more. So back where I grew up, we lived on a dirt road. My best friend lived less than a mile down the road from me. So it was not like we were joyriding down the interstate or, anything like that. Basically what happened is, this was before we were able to drive. She had invited me over to her house, but neither one of our parents could bring us to one another's house at that time. So her mom was busy with something, and she said, yeah, I'll pick her up later when I'm done. And anyway, so she ended up, my friend ended up jumping in the car and coming and getting me because she didn't feel like waiting. It was just one of those things. So fast forward, we pulled out of the driveway. She lost control of the car. We were in a car wreck. And so what happened is I was not wearing my seatbelt. And there's a whole lot more that goes into the story, but short story version is that I was not wearing my seatbelt and we hit a tree and I went into the windshield. Wow. And thank goodness for safety glass, because I think that if we were going any faster, I probably would have been between the tree and the car. It was intense. So what happened is, with safety glass, when something hits it, it expands and then it contracts. It goes back. And that's it. My head went through it, and then the glass grabbed, and then when I pulled my head out, it ripped. So I have a huge scar here. So after my car wreck, all this hair was missing. My whole eyebrow was gone. It took like this whole side of my face was like, it was intense. And I was I 12 years old? 12, 13. I was at that weird, awkward phase in childhood. Just very awkward, weird phase in childhood. And so my face was shredded, so there was nothing for them to sew back together, or you know, like it was what it was. I still to this day have glass coming out of my forehead. Like it's intense. But basically what ended up happening is, you know, after you're done healing, you have to go back to school and face the kids. And I was called so many names under the sun. And, you know, just kids are mean. Kids are mean. And that in a lot of ways caused, you know, just a lot of uncertainty in yourself at that age where you are looking for reassurance from everybody in your life. And so that was really hard for me. And I guess I just kind of sort of like, you know, it never, I don't know, I never got to a point where I felt like I was really necessarily like depressed or you know, like not to an extreme level. But in a lot of ways it kind of made me like step back. Like I no longer wanted people to take pictures of me. I never wanted to like be the focus. I never wanted to, you know, like I kind of went in my shell a little bit.
Right.
I was always worried what people thought about me and all that kind of stuff. And so it took a very long time of dealing with that and growing up with those feelings of uncertainty and all that kind of stuff, because I basically lived my whole childhood like from 13 on up with a scar on my face. And you know, so I got into this thing where when I looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't see myself anymore. Like all I saw was this scar. That is all that I saw. And here we are. I am 32 years old, and I'm finally to a point where it doesn't bother me that much anymore. You know, I know it's there. I know it's part of me, but thankfully it's to a point now where like it's not as noticeable as it used to be. And this is also in part because I've had skin grafting surgery and I've also had laser treatments done on it. So it's like there's been a lot that's gone into it, but that is kind of sort of like at the core of my self-love thing. I know what it's like to feel like you don't belong and to wonder what people are thinking about you. I have also never been the skinny girl. I have always been the bigger one of my friends. And, you know, you go through life and that is just the role that you play, or you just fall into, I guess. So it's like, I know how that feels, and I know how isolating it feels. And through boudoir, I realized that I'm not the only one who has these feelings. I'm not the only one who feels like I'm the only one. I'm not, you see what I'm saying? And that, look, I'm getting chill bumps talking about this. Like it took me doing this with my life and me meeting all these wonderful, amazing humans in my life to realize that I really am not the only one who feels these things. Even the girls who have these, quote, perfect bodies and perfect everythings feel the same way that I feel. Right. And that was huge for me. That was so powerful. And that made me go like, you know what? It's not a me thing. It's a mindset thing. It is an eternal thing. It is a, you know, and then you start looking at the world differently. You start seeing these magazines that are like targeting the most susceptible part of the population and telling them how their hair should look, how their body should look, how their, you know, how big their chest should be, how big their butt should be, how flat their stomach should be, how tan their skin should be, how long their hair should be, what color it needs to be, like all these things. And it's like, you know, at what point do we stop becoming who we are just to please who? Who are we pleasing? Who are we trying to please? Because what it comes down to, and the most important part in life, is yourself. Because I am learning now that I am in the children phase of my life that how can I give all my love to my kids if I can't even love myself? Right. And that that floored me. That and that's kind of where I really was like, you know what? No one else matters except you to yourself. And all the other things, why it
Well, and children pick up
they do.
if you don't love yourself,
Yes,
then they just have that innate sense.
they do.
And that what I see is that often it makes them not love themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can see how people
Well, they
who don't
channel
love
that
themselves.
energy. They copy your energy. They see you looking in the mirror and talking negatively about yourself, and then it's normal. So then that's what they do to themselves too. I have 2 daughters. I already, my almost 8-year-old already does it. She looks in the mirror and she's like, why am I so much bigger than my friends? Or, like that kind of stuff. And, I always tell her, I'm like, you're not, everybody's body is different. Every single body is beautiful. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter how light your skin is, how dark your skin is. None of that matters. What matters is that you're a kind human being and that you love everybody and you treat everybody the way that you want to be treated. Because that is what you expect back. You wouldn't treat somebody badly and then expect them to treat you nicely. That's not how it works. Like, if you want to be treated with kindness, then you also need to treat people with kindness and love and respect. And it's a lot. It's hard. It's very, it's kids is a very interesting concept, but it makes you look at yourself differently too, because I've gotten to the point now where I will not talk about people's body weight or the way that my weight or the way that I look in clothes or that kind of stuff in front of them, because I don't want, I am trying my best. I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect, but I try my best to lead by example when it comes to that. And that's something very important to me, because I don't want them to grow up thinking that it's okay to talk down to yourself all the time, because that's ultimately what they're learning if they hear you talk down to yourself all the time.
Right.
So
the very practical question that is, how in the world does getting into lingerie
yes,
make you
absolutely. So to me, as a woman, it goes back to like when you just look at yourself in the mirror. When you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see? You take your clothes off and your first thought in the inside of your brain is, oh my God, do I really look like that? Or you see a candid shot of yourself and the first thing that your brain goes to is, oh, ooh, do I look like that in person? I don't look like that. I can't really look like that. You know what it's like? You automatically zone in on what you think is your imperfection. For me, I see myself in a picture and I'm like, oh God, I can really see my scar in that picture. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you and other people see these pictures and they don't see that. They don't, that, not at all. Like, their vision of what they see when they look at a picture is completely and totally opposite of what you see when you look at a candid shot of yourself. So to me, when you see yourself in the mirror and you are like turning around and trying to check and see what kind of rolls and lumps and bumps you might have going on behind you, you're creating lumps and bumps looking at yourself. You're not seeing yourself in the mirror the way that everybody around you sees you standing when you're just standing there, because you can't just take your eyes out and pop them in somebody else to see what you look like. You see what I'm saying? Like, you never get to see your body other than the way that you see it in a mirror in a photo. And that's why I feel like these photos are so important. Doing boudoir is such an intimate experience. It is a way to learn to love yourself in nothing, basically. It is loving the skin that you are in without clothing, literally stripping it all away and still finding love in your body, in every curve.
I love that.
And
I love that.
Yeah. And that to me in a lot of ways is the beauty of it. The lingerie part of it is just, it's just fun.
It's fun. Yeah.
It gives everybody the opportunity to explore and to find their their inner, I don't know, femininity or whatever it is that they're looking for. It gives them a way to bring out their personality a little bit in their photographs. And
it's playful. It's
it is. And that just adds to it. It's not about the lingerie that you're putting on your body when you do this. It is about feeling good about yourself. It is about that feeling when I put you in these weird ass awkward poses and then I take the photo of you and I flip it around and I show it to you and you're like, wow, is that really what I look like? Because
I don't know how many times today I said that.
yes. And see, but that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Because when you're sitting there looking weird and awkward, you're probably in the back of your mind going like, what in the world is happening right now? Like, there's no way that this is going to look good. And then you see the picture and you're like, that's me? I look like that? I really look like that? That's me? And see, that's an out-of-body experience in a lot of ways. I mean, that's, you don't get to see yourself that way.
I never thought that today because I, from our discussions as you were getting me ready from our first conversation, I just felt like I trusted you. I was like, wow, I guess that it started in the group, just seeing how you interacted in the group and the focus that you had on people, on them as individuals. And as you mentioned earlier, just the importance of all the different kinds of opinions and everything being valid. And it was just like, I could tell that you could see things I couldn't see.
Okay, yeah.
And so I knew every time we got into a position, I was just like,
she knows what she's doing.
She can see something I can't see.
That's good. I'm so glad. Yes. And that is, I tell a lot of people on the phone when I talk to them, I usually at some point during our conversation will say, just trust me and trust the process. And that is probably one of the most important things that I'll say is because like, you have to. It might be strange. It might be weird. Not every single thing that I do is going to turn out the way that I envisioned it in my head, but it is going to look amazing. And we are going to tweak it and master it until we get it looking phenomenally. And it just, I don't know. I just, the way, part of what brings me so much joy in doing what I do is that I have women every day who walk into my studio feeling nervous, scared, anxious, terrified. A lot of women come into this experience doing this as a gift for a husband, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a significant, just whoever. And by the time they see their photos and they look at their images on my computer, there is a switch in them that they're looking at these images and they are to the point where, I've had plenty of women in my studio crying when they see their images. And again, it comes back to the out of body experience thing too. It's like these people who thought that they were doing it for someone else immediately realized after seeing their pictures, like, whoa, this may have been for somebody else, but this actually
it's healing.
Was for me. It is. And see, and that's what it comes down to. I see, and I just think it's the craziest thing. Again, I'm getting chill bumps talking about it, is that like you talk so down to yourself every single day. And I think that's just like one of the things that like women are like programmed almost to do this. Like it's just something that we do without realizing that we even do it. And you have that a lot of times. A lot of women come into the studio doing that when they first get here, when they first come in, and they'll make funny comments and saying things like, oh, how are you going to make my fat ass look good? Or, oh, how are you going to make my, gut look good, or my stomach, or my rolls, or my, like any of that kind of stuff. And, you have to laugh and chuckle because that's part of this healing process, is because this is transformational, what we do in the studio. And you get to the point when you see your images at the end and you see all these parts that you thought you hated so much about yourself, and then immediately you see them differently and you're like, wow, I'm amazing. I'm perfect. I look beautiful. Like, I never thought that I could look like those girls in a magazine, and here I am looking like one of those girls in the magazine. And that just, it's emotional. It really is. It's moving. I mean, I still have times where, you're gonna have those days where you feel down on yourself, but this is one of those, like, you pull out your images, you think back to this day, this experience, this everything. For a lot of women, this is a once in a lifetime experience. I don't have a lot of people who do this, monthly, or you know what I'm saying? Like, this is something for a lot of women. They do this like one time and they go big, and they have this. And that is part of the reason why I think boudoir in general is considered a luxury these days. It's not cheap, and it shouldn't be cheap, because what we are doing is so much more than just snapping a bunch of photos of someone. It's healing. It's inside. It's emotional. It's powerful. It's all kinds of different things, and it's something that a lot of people aren't going to know or realize until they are here and doing it for themselves and experiencing it.
Right.
It's intense. It really is intense. And I think you now doing this probably can.
Yeah, and I would say that, I'm pretty far on my healing journey. I do love myself. I don't have those insecurities when I look at my body.
Yeah.
And I can say honestly, I said on the channel last night when I was talking about the fact that I was going to be doing this, I said, I'm doing this for me.
Yeah.
And yet going through it today, I felt that there was healing going on even as we were going through it, because I was like, I do feel good about myself, but this is making me see myself differently. And
it is.
It's a gift. It's a gift to give yourself something that just helps you to see yourself. It's like an out-of-body experience.
It is. See, and that's like, I don't know how to explain that differently either, because it's true. It's true. It is just so different. There's nothing, you can take yourself to a spa day, you can talk to a counselor, you can, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can do all these things. You can get your nails done, you can get your hair done, you can get all the things done, but it's not the same feeling that you get when you do something like this. And I love it so much. This is my passion. This is my everything. And a lot of it is because there are an abundance of women out there who don't realize that they are worthy of self-love. They don't think that they are beautiful. They don't think that they deserve to feel beautiful. They don't think that they'll ever feel beautiful, or, that kind of stuff. And that, it breaks my heart, because every woman is beautiful and worthy of the skin that they are in. And that's the other thing that I love is you didn't change anything about the person that I was. We didn't hide any parts of my body. You captured me as I am and showed me, and as I said, I didn't feel insecure about my body, but I do know exactly what you're saying. So many people come in and all they, it's like, there's my jelly belly. Yeah, exactly.
I would say that's probably my biggest insecurity is, that, but I don't hide it.
Right, but we all have things like that, where we're just like a little bit like, I really wish I didn't have that, but it is what it is, kind of thing,
Exactly.
And I think there are a lot of women, like, I see a lot of women who are going through big changes in their lives. So for instance, I will get women who are coming out of a mentally abusive or physically abusive relationship, or I will have women come in here who are who just had a child within the last few years and their body is just not the same as what it used to be, or women who just got a breast like new breasts because they had a double mastectomy because they are going through cancer, or you know what I'm saying, like I see
Major
people
life
going
changes.
through like major things in their lives. And like I said, I get women from all different walks of life who come in here. And it is it 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 is just so I don't even have like words. Like I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. It's just like there is something about an experience like this that really helps people to see themselves in a different light altogether.
I would, I want to say I've never had a boudoir shoot before. I have talked to a couple of people about that at different times. You do make this different.
Do I?
Yeah, there is an energy about you, because I could tell from the very beginning that you really care.
Yeah, I do.
And that does make a difference. It's not just that you're the photographer,
right,
and you're going to come in and you're going to capture some great pictures, but that's not healing for somebody, really.
Right.
I mean, they might walk away with the pictures being like, wow, that's me, wow, that's cool, but they're not walking away with the same experience.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I definitely think that you bring something to the table that
makes
very
me very
special.
happy to hear. I put my all into this. I love what I do, and I feel like that shows for a lot of people in my pictures, the experience in general, the studio when they come in here, and just in general the way that like I speak about the things that I do in my business and that kind of stuff. I love it, and I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I was able to turn my love of something into a business. And but it also comes with its challenges too, because business is supposed to be business, and when you're doing something that you love, there's that balance thing that we talked about earlier. Is like there's a it's hard in a lot of ways. It's very rewarding, and but there is, I don't know, I strongly deep down inside of me believe that every single human on this planet deserves to feel loved and worthy and respected, and and I feel like that's very important, and that inner love and that self-love and that overall feeling of your own, like your own thoughts and your own feelings and opinions of yourself, and who you are and how you feel and how you look and all those things. Like every single person deserves to feel amazing and all the things. And I really truly strongly believe that. And I feel like every single, like my business is geared towards women, and that is not because I think that men don't deserve to feel the same way about their bodies, but I feel like I'm not meant to help the men with this. I don't feel like I know how to portray a male body in the same way that I could a woman's body.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's like you understand your gift.
Exactly. And I wish with all my heart that I could. I do couple sessions, but we are focused more on the connection between the couples than we are on the male and that kind of stuff. And there are just so many amazing photographers out there who know what they are doing to make the male body look beautiful and amazing and strong and masculine and all those things. And it's unfortunately it's not me. I wish with all my heart that I knew how, but it's not the same for me. And I just I just feel like, and I think that's just because I'm a woman myself. So I feel like my calling is to let other women learn and feel that inner love and that inner self-care for themselves. You know what I mean? And I just feel like that's in a lot of ways because we don't have that support system. Like you don't have that anywhere else, if that makes sense. Like it's hard. Like being a woman is hard in a lot of ways. We go through a lot of stuff. We deal with so many hormones. We do deal with so many changes in our life. So many, like our bodies are constantly changes. We have periods, we have children, we have menopause, we have, you know what I'm saying? Like we go through so many things that are tied to so many different emotions and things, and it all can make you feel crazy in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? And so your mind should not be something to add to that, like to that stress. Like you should be able to look at yourself and go like, wow, this body created life. Or wow, this body fought cancer. Or this body made it through a domestic abusive relation, like, you know, like all those things. That's powerful. That's big stuff. I mean, you know, and I don't know, in a lot of ways I feel like this business is bigger than me because there is so much healing that needs to be done in this world for just everybody, and I'm just a small part of that puzzle. But if I can make at least the women who come in and walk into my studio in the years, in, you know, throughout the years that I'm doing my business, that if I can make them and help them to see themselves in a way that makes them feel beautiful, respected, and loved, then that's huge. I mean,
and it passes on.
Yeah.
They pass it on.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I feel like I used to getting the questions. I hope that I did it okay. Yeah, and I mean, if I need to like move plants and stuff out of the way, because I may or may not be blocking your camera when I take the photos.
Oh, that's fine.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah, because I want you.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the swing.
Okay.
And we are let's to start off with. Let's just start with a very easy one. All I'm gonna get you to do is hold up here, and you're gonna get on your knees like this, and you're just gonna kind of sort of just like lean forward towards me. Okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes. Oh, gorgeous. You okay?
Yeah.
You just have to let me know if at any point. And just want to make sure as well that throughout our shoot, I am going to be touching you, like adjusting your outfit, your hair, that kind of stuff. Just making sure that I have your full permission to do so. Just don't want you to be like, oh my gosh, why is she touching me during that shoot? You know what I'm saying? So if at any point you're uncomfortable with anything, just let me know. So, okay?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, girl. So I'm going to have you just like look straight at me. Tricks to doing, because a lot of people struggle with like facial expressions, that kind of stuff. Don't overthink it. Breathe in like through your nose, out through your mouth. That's going to relax your jawline a little bit, make you feel a little bit like more natural, that kind of stuff. And if you want to, maybe, let me see what it looks like if you grab the side straps instead of the bar up there. I think I like this a little bit better. I feel like this was like a little bit much. So I'm going to have you chin up just a little bit. Yes. Beautiful. Oh yeah, and our lighting is like really good. I'm gonna have you kind of sort of like look off towards the window a little bit. And let's see. So what I'm thinking is bring one hand up here a little bit more and kind of sort of like lean Oh, that's gorgeous. That is so pretty. Like super sensual. Oh, oh my gosh, I love it. Oh, love it. Beautiful. Perfect. Look. Isn't that beautiful? Hold on, and then I have to shake this one.
Eyes closed is actually easier.
Oh, this is gonna be your favorite picture of the whole shoot so far.
That would be.
Oh, you look so great. This is absolutely stunning. I'm dying right now. I'm trying to snap a whole bunch of pictures because I know that you're not like really comfortable right now. Worth it though, I swear. And then one more, and then I'm gonna let you breathe again. Okay, perfect. You're good. I mean, girl.
That's incredible.
She